Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. It's late night for me in Streets. It's like 6 p.m. for our guest. The the man who most of you, if you follow anyone on Instagram, have seen this guy whipping the hands around like poetry in motion. He has
Yeah,
a
yeah.
beautiful beard and he's such a savage that he still uses a Yahoo email account. Kevin Gleason, how are you, my
My
friend?
man, I'm doing good, man. How about you guys?
Living the dream.
So good to have you on, man. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for joining us.
I appreciate you guys having me on, man. Absolutely.
Oh mate, it was a non-discussion. It was like gotta have Kev on, gotta try and
Fuck
get
yeah.
Frank boxing coach on, but I think he does not like speaking in his accent very much. Bless
I
him.
bet he wasn't hopping on, man. I bet he wasn't hopping on.
No, he wasn't. I don't think he's doing a load of like shadow boxing out in the forest, isn't he, at the minute? I don't know what his game is.
Breaks mainstream now, man. You can barely get a DM back from him.
Oh no. But to be fair to him, he actually he likes commenting on the stories quite a lot because I think he quite likes the destruction that I put up.
Yeah.
So I think I've just got that little bit closer. I reckon I can get him. I reckon we can lure him.
I only get those messages when I'm doing something wrong. That's all the time.
Right. Maybe that's why I'm mixing it up. What you been up to? Also, respect. In the whip, driving around Florida style, in the branded merch. You know, me and Streets ain't even in the branded merch.
Mate, love it.
Everybody out here in Florida is either driving or texting or FaceTime texting, one or the other. So,
Yeah,
you know,
it's a serious state. It's a serious state.
crazy
How's
out here.
how's the new space going? Well, it's not that new anymore, but it's pretty new by
I moved in
comparison.
in January. It's going good, man. We have a 1,400 square foot spot.
Ooh.
You know, it's a nice little ring. And to be honest with you, it was kind of what I really wanted to do for a long time was just have a space that was big enough for small 3 to 4 man sessions and private training only. You know,
Yeah.
so it's going really good, man. I've been kind of blessed aside from this coronavirus and everything else. I've been really lucky with it, man. I can't complain.
What's the vibe in Florida? Because at the beginning it was decent because I had a couple of friends out in Naples that were just kind of like living the dream, and then
Yeah.
it looks like it's gone a little bit bang, isn't it?
As far as the coronavirus goes,
Yeah.
we're wide open, man. You know, I think we're at like 600. We're at like 600,000 cases. Um, it's crazy. I actually got it back in June, late June.
Sure.
Myself and my girlfriend, we both had it. And believe it or not, I got it from my fighter, Miguel Baeza.
Oh,
Um,
shit.
he had it and then gave it to me, and
Cheers, Miguel.
you know,
Thanks.
yeah, right.
Caramel
Bad or is
Thunder.
it all right?
It wasn't bad at all, to be honest with you, man. At least from my standpoint, and my girlfriend has severe
Mm.
asthma, and she didn't get it that bad either. Um, so it really wasn't that bad. You know, I had like a cold for like 2, 3 days. My taste went away for like 2 weeks, but you know, once it was done, I mean, it wasn't anything crazy. The thing that sucked is you had to kind of quarantine yourself from people for about 20 to 30 days. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Shit.
for those who don't know who you are, do you want to just give us like a little rundown about your path into? I mean, let's be honest, you're an Instagram sensation. I assume that you have a thriving TikTok, but I'm too old to even download the app.
I don't have a TikTok. I don't even really use Facebook, man.
Me either.
No, no, no.
No. Right.
Um,
So yeah, run us through it.
Yeah, so basically, I started boxing when I was about 13 years old at a local police athletic league over here in Pembroke Pines, in the city that I kind of grew up in. I started boxing, and it was nothing other than like, you know, I was just a young kid who, you know, kind of liked to be physical and fight
Hmm.
and stuff like that. I never really liked to be like tough because of like the bully aspect or anything like that. I just enjoy like the competitiveness of it. Um, Started fighting at that age, competing. You know, I would bounce it around with other sports because I enjoyed playing baseball,
Yep.
hockey, all kinds of different sports. I never, you know, it's funny, I tell people all the time, I never took boxing serious until I got a little bit older.
Hmm.
When I was, you know, I was always back and forth with it. I think when I started to really get pick it up and say this is something I really wanted to do when I was about 22 years old. I kind of got back into it a little bit more full time. So that was really it. I say it all the time. People, they think that, I'm joking, but it was always a thing that I'd pick up, put down, pick up, put down, but when I was about 22 and I started getting a little bit older is really when I wanted to really go full speed with it a little bit more, but I was too old to be fighting.
Yeah.
At that point, at least.
Professionally, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. From what we've seen, like you work with a bunch of pros. We've seen, like Hector Lombard lurking around in the gym. Like, first of all, if we could have a little chat just about Hector, because he gives me nightmares. I'm sure he's a genuinely lovely man, but you look at that, like we did BKB 12, bare knuckle 12 the other night, and having him in the black and gold, bouncing around, looking at you. I mean, it's not a nice way to spend an evening, is it?
I'll tell you, man. I've known Hector for a long time now. From like his American Top Team days, when I was younger. So we've always been pretty cool and close with each other. And then after he got done with the UFC, he started kind of coming to the gym, my old gym, and training with me. He would start messaging me, texting me. Kind of, to be honest with you, man, just like you said, you don't want to get on Hector's bad side. So
No.
if he's asking to train, you're going to train him. You know what I mean?
Fact.
That's the way he is.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of one of those. He would trickle into the gym and he started to take my classes. He would just finish his contract, his last contract in the UFC. I was coaching Jim Allers in the bare knuckle. So he had kind of already seen that. And that was really how it started out with us. And he was a little overweight at that time. I helped him kind of snap back into fighting because I think he was on the process if he was going to retire, what he was going to do. We just started training every day, literally like 5 days a week. Helped him lose like 30 plus pounds. And then he signed his contract. And the problem was, man, I was entirely too busy to train him full time. You know what I mean?
Right.
He was looking for full time training.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do that. You know what I mean? I had so many fighters and I was, he wanted an everyday 6 day a week thing. And I just, my schedule wasn't permitting that. But, I still love him to death. Actually called me the other day. I spoke to him for about a good 15 minutes. And he was just, cursing America, essentially. You know what I mean? He's a huge Trump supporter. He's a huge Trump supporter. So we talked probably about, I talked to him on his fight. I'm sorry. We text back and forth, wishing him good luck. But I talked to him about before his fight. I mean, Hector's a great guy. I know he has this crazy reputation. But to be honest, as long as I've known him, I've never really, I've seen it, but I haven't seen it. You know what I mean? It's never been like that with me. He's a savage. There's no doubt about it. I'll tell you like that. In the gym, he's a savage. But I've never seen him, snap the way, a lot of people say he does. But I wouldn't want to stand across from him.
No, fact.
Did you get into the bare knuckle through Jim? Did he come to you and he wanted to do it, and then you were like, all right, let's do this? Or
so the story with me and Jim is actually pretty funny. I knew Jim since the 10th grade. We went to high school together.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was boxing and he was wrestling. And he knew, we were good friends then, and he knew that I boxed and, he had wrestled. And when he got into MMA, he was out in Orlando. He was about 4 hours from where I'm at now. He moved back down here and I trained him while he was in the UFC on and off. I wasn't his head coach or anything like that. I just helped him out from time to time, get him some sparring, etc. And he had retired. Me and him hadn't talked in a while just because of our schedules and everything else we had going on. And I ran into him. One of my guys was fighting at a local show, and I ran into him backstage. He was out there with one of his people, I guess one of his fighters, and he had said that Bare Knuckle reached out, and they wanted him to fight, and he wanted me to train him for it. And I'll be honest, I told him absolutely not. I said, I'll be real. I said I would never train anybody for something I wouldn't do.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. Yeah.
Bare knuckle was something I would never do. I still stand by that, So, he had asked me in the back, and I'm like, I'm not going to do that, And then that was on a Saturday. I'll never forget it. Monday, he texted me and he said, hey, what's your schedule looking like? I want to book some privates with you. And I knew immediately. I've known Jim, like I said, since we were about 16 years
Mm-hmm.
old. And I was like, "Did you sign that contract?" And he's like, "I signed it." I'm like, "You send it over to me, and if you really did sign it, I'll train you for the fight." And it was supposed to be a one and done.
Yeah.
You know, they offered him good money.
Mm-hmm.
We took the fight. I think we had like 4 weeks to train.
What?
We trained for that fight for 4 weeks, and he wound up knocking the guy out in like 45 seconds. It worked out great. First round, 45 seconds in.
What, I mean, you know, how do you even go about training someone for a bare knuckle? Is it literally you just go through all of the standard and then just be like, well, we take the gloves off at the end?
I'll tell you what, man. You know, it was so foreign, and I think that was like the process that I actually enjoyed with it. Is it was something different from boxing and MMA. I watched a couple of videos, and I was like, man, you know, some of these guys were doing this. They were doing it fucking wrong. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm like, these guys are out here trying to fucking box with bare knuckles, and that's just not gonna work. You know what I mean? So I watched like 2 or 3 fights, and I'm like, man, the only way to really do this is kind of, you know, working inside, you know, like the Tyson style, working on the U shape, and then a lot of clinching. You know what I mean? Because if you're out there too long, man, let's be honest. I say it again and again, time and time. That's 50-50, man. You know what I mean? You're not gonna win the fight because you're the better guy on paper. You're gonna win the fight because you hit first, you hit fast, and you know. So I watched a couple of fights and I just started preparing like that. We prepared with gloves. We did a regular, you know, I didn't want to damage his fist. We did 0 sparring. I kid you not.
Wow.
You know, no sparring. And even to this day, you know, like his last fight, he's done it 4 times now. His last fight, we had 2 sparring sessions. And I try to keep it very light because, you know what, one, Jim's a vet. He's 34 years old. He's been in there with everybody. I don't want him to take damage on his head, his hands, etc. I feel like the mitts is kind of where he gets his timing down and his range, and we go over the system and any concepts we want to go off of, and that's really about it, man. We don't do a ton of sparring. I don't want him taking that kind of damage. I feel like that's really been what kept us in front of all these guys, you know?
Yeah.
That is brilliant. And that's so good to hear because I feel like that's an important thing that's get lost a lot. Some people, the sports come so far, but the mentality is still kind of stuck back in the hard. And it's like, you know, training hard and training smart don't always go hand in hand. You shorten people's careers by getting them smashed up behind closed doors all the time, you know?
Absolutely. Especially bare knuckle, man. Like, let's be honest, dude. Anybody with a fist, you know, you don't have a 10 or an 8-ounce glove to catch shots. So, you know, you basically just have to kind of, I believe it, with a fight like that, you want to come in as fresh as possible because you're going to take some serious damage. If that fight goes past the first round, your hands, your face, everything's getting fucked up.
Yeah, so we're on Streets' stag. We went to the UK BKB to just to see it. It's the first time, you know, everyone's seen bare knuckle, everyone's seen Vice and the Travelers, you know, in the UK. We've all seen it before, okay? This is the first time that I'd personally seen BKB. You hear of it, see it in person, and then like after what we saw from the crowd, which was Tyler Goodjohn, the new bare knuckle FC signing, right? He looked like he barely got touched. And then he came through and walked past, and he had like his hands looked like oven mitts. His face was all like chunked up, like, and it was like, dude, we just watched you slip and slide and barely get touched, and like, what happened? Like, did you get attacked on the way up the stairs?
It doesn't take much, does it? Fucking hell, wouldn't.
Nope.
Can I just ask because the hand wraps in the UK, they're like essentially they're a normal wrap and they just stop at the glove. The one in the BKB FC, is that almost like a plaster or something, or? No,
so what they do is it's fucking crazy, bro. It's crazy. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. Like,
I mean, when the sport is crazy.
Back into the story, his first fight, like I said, it was a one and done for him. You know what I mean? And I said, you know, out of love, this guy is, you know, he's one of my best friends. I've been friends with him since we were 16. I'm close with his wife, you know what I mean? His kids, his family, you know what I mean? It's not just one of my fighters.
Yeah.
So I'm like, dude, this is the second BKFC that they had. So it was 4 hours north from here. And we get there, and I'm like looking at the people involved in this, and I'm like, man, what the fuck did you get me into? Tattoos on the face and the head, and all kinds of crazy shit. And we're in the winning locker. We were the fourth fight on the card. There were like 8 fights in. We're the first or second fight on the pay-per-view. Everybody on that card had won. Everybody in our locker room had won. And they're coming back, and their faces are split wide open. Their hands are all fucked up. And I'm like, dude, Jim, what the fuck are we doing? You know what I mean? Like,
what do the other guys look like?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I'm like, these guys won. Their hands are all messed up. So, we go in there, and they had the wrap. It's not a wrap. What it is it's just their promotion. It's weird. They don't use them anymore, I don't think. It's kind of like a koozie for your beer.
What?
You know what I mean? Like,
Are you serious?
I swear to God,
Well, they just cut a thumb out.
Yeah, so they cut a thumb, and it's like to protect your wrist.
Sure.
But they don't use them in all of them. Okay, so our first fight, they used it. Then we fought up in Mississippi, and they didn't use it. You just wrapped your hand with regular tape and gauze. Just two fingers from your lead knuckle.
Yep.
And then I don't know if they used it again. We used it like twice, and then the other 2 times. This is the 4th time. The other 2 times he didn't use it.
Is that the rule? 2 fingers from your knuckle?
Yeah, so it's 2 fingers from the knuckle. That's where the tape and the gauze and everything else.
See,
can go.
Streets, this is where I need to become the go-to hand wrap person for the bare knuckle community because of my tiny imp hands, right? Like the amount of protection that I could get the guys would be second to none.
100%. Man.
We're using my strong hand.
Yeah, it's weird. And then they don't want you to see the koozie or whatever the hell that thing is called has like the BKFC on it, but they want you to tape it completely up. It was crazy, man. Like the commission, everything, and every time I've been involved in it, it's been crazy. And this is, to be honest with you, man, you guys are hearing it, right now. Jim's fighting again November 14th against Luis Palomino for the title.
Oh
shit, that's going down.
Yeah, that's official. It will be and I told Jim this will be the last time I coach him for this fight.
It's just too stressful, isn't it?
It's just, yeah, man, like, it's crazy. It's a crazy sport. I'm not saying guys, great, man. They're making a lot of money doing it. They're taking care of their fighters financially. There's no doubt about it. It's just, to me, I don't feel like the better guy sometimes wins that fight. You know what I mean? It's usually, like I said, the guy who gets off first, hits hardest. You know what I mean? So I told Jim, this will probably be the last one for me as his coach, unless they offer us a fight that's enticing, like somebody I really want to get in there with,
I mean, the thing is, it is exciting and it is fun to watch. And they do put on a good production. They do put on a good show. Like, I get it. Gloved is always going to be the heart, but I get it. I've got the app. I'm super involved now.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a lot of fun. It could be fun, no doubt about it.
I mean, I've got 2 new best friends from the internet that are part of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when the guy going in there, fuck it.
Yeah, dude, let me tell you something. Your anxiety and your stress level are at an all-time high cornering that kind of fight. Like, you never feel like, all right, my guy's really walking away with this fight where, you know what I mean? Like, unless he gets him out of there fast, it's the biggest adrenaline I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
I'll tell you like that. Ever. And I've cornered a lot of different fights, all kinds, boxing, MMA, everything, but nothing like that.
I mean, but he barely goes to 2 in the first round. There was 1 in the second, then 1 decision, right? So he's normally
the first 2 we knocked him out in the first round. The second one or the third one was the third round or second round. I'm sorry, and then the 4th one was we went to decision with that kid Caleb, whatever his name is, Harris.
Yeah.
That was a war.
I mean, from what we saw with your boy Hector, first time around, he almost tried to box. Second time around, he just buzzsawed Grove, didn't he?
Yeah, you can't, and I had told him that. We were in the same locker room together, and I was, like I said, it was very weird in the end. I was supposed to coach him for that fight, and it just, like I said, the schedule was so big. I was helping him as much as I could for that fight. but I couldn't put too much time into it. But in the locker room, you know, I've known Hector for a long time. He just looked, you know, it was his kind of his comeback fight. You know, he had taken a little time off, so there were a lot of pressure on that. You know what I mean? He was a hometown favorite kind of guy, so it was. I think he was more so, you know, it was his nerves that didn't make him go out there and be the one that you saw this Saturday night where he went out there and took that guy out.
I'm not surprised. You know? I'm not surprised. You're having a fucking fist fight, bare knuckle, in this weird round ring with ropes that are, I mean, those ropes are just ridiculously. What's the? I mean, it may as well be a cage.
It's iron. The rope
of course
inside,
it is.
They're not. Yeah, it's metal
why
iron,
wouldn't it be?
It's
just
around.
it's just a loop.
It's crazy, man. It is crazy. And, you know, and I kind of told Hector before that, you know, because I was with him for about 2 or 3 months, helping him get ready and get in shape. And I told him, like, man, this is a full-blown 110-mile-an-hour fight. Like, don't go in there trying to touch him up and, you know, look for the fight. Because Hector works off, like, the parry system, where he lets you wait. You know, he lets you kind of come in and he'll parry your shots and then tee off on you and counter you. You know, with that, it's just like, you just got to kind of go forward, keep your chin down, try to catch shots, you know, defensively on your forearms or your elbows, and call it a day, man. You know, get in and get out as fast as you can.
Man. I did a seminar with Dave LeDuc. He does the left way, you know, where the bare knuckle Muay Thai with the headbutts.
Sure, yeah.
Boy, like, fucking hell. Like, the way they'll purposely miss with the punch so you slip and then they nut. It's like, fuck it. The game changes. And he was saying, bare knuckles, you can't afford to, it's not a points thing. It's, you got to get it done because, like we were saying, you take a couple of shots and your eyes could be fucked. So,
yeah, man. I mean, Jim's last fight, he took probably the most damage that I've seen, you know, facial wise. I mean, his hands are always messed up. Even after that first fight, you know, he had bruised up his hand a little bit, but yeah, man, you just got to kind of keep your head down. You know, like you watch the fights. I felt like Thiago Alves is a perfect example. And Thiago's my boy. I love the guy to death. He's a super technical guy. And I thought that he was just a little too technical in that fight. And that's why he took any kind of damage. It's, you know, this is, like I said, 110.
He did look good.
You know, he looked really good. Thiago's a monster, man. He's a beast.
But I mean, Jim, like, fucking, he's such a high level black, like most of his fights in the MMA world, there were submissions, and he's got these incredible hands that he's just starching people. He is fucking, you know, literally the beast.
It was one of those things, man, with Jim, like, when he was in, you know, MMA, I'm a boxing coach. So MMA and boxing, you know, a lot of these boxing or MMA gyms, they feel like boxing isn't very important. So even when I was training Jim, I would get with him in the UFC. When he was in the UFC, I'd get with him maybe once a week, if that.
Yeah.
And, you know, he didn't really work on his hands a lot. And just like you said, it was kind of his grappling was his main attribute. And when he came to me and he really wanted to do it, I'm like, all right, but we're not going to do 3 different coaches. You're not going to be bouncing around, you know, from gym to gym. We're going to do it this way. And we're going to train for this fight this way, you know?
That's crazy that it's still like that, though. Right?
Oh, man, it's crazy like that out here, bro.
Yeah, but that, like, you know, GSP used Freddie Roach as well as Grant up in Montreal. You know, he has got you. There's, you know, the litany of fighters now that have full-scale boxing coaches and look sensational with it now. It's mad that they still have it that way. It's still a little bit crazy.
You know what? I more so attribute it to, you know, these days you're in the era of coaches want to be more important than the fighters.
Yeah.
You know, and I truly do sincerely feel that way. Like, you know, they want to be more famous and more popular than the fighters do. You know what I mean? They kind of want to be out there on the forefront of everything. And you know, I see that a lot more so with MMA gyms more than anything. You know what I mean? And I deal with that. I'm in South Florida, so I'm between 3 major camps. I have American Top Team's headquarters. You have Stanford MMA, and then you have MMA Masters out here. So, you know, a lot of these guys, you know, they're kind of jockeying for, you know, the limelight, I feel like. So I think it's a lot to do with that. You know, guys want to have that spotlight as a coach rather than the importance of the fighter.
That's odd. And why do you think that is? Just ego?
It's just, I think it's ego. It has a lot to do with ego. I think it's kind of, it's money. It's a lot of different things. It's fame. It's a lot of different things. And I tell everybody all the time, man, I don't really like to fly too fucking much. So, you know what I mean? If you're not fighting in an area where it takes about 12 hours to drive, you have to find yourself a coach
Yeah.
that'll roll with you, man, because I'm not into that, So it
I
doesn't matter to me.
I saw someone, an interview you did with someone, and I fucking love the way you mentioned it. Was like basically it's passion over profit. I think that's so fucking important with the combat sport. And it's something that's like, if you're not willing to do it for the, especially when you're working with fighters, these people, now it's trendy. People come in, and I think that also ties in with what you're saying. They just come in, they want all the bling and all this shit, but they haven't put their heart and soul into it, and they don't really give a fuck. So it's easy and easy out. It's so good to see someone like yourself, because your list of amateurs as well is fucking incredible. Like, you've got a mad team, man. Like the results speak for itself. So yeah, man.
I always say it all the time, man. If anybody thinks they're gonna fucking make money off of fighters, they're crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're absolutely nuts. You know what I mean? I watched a great interview with Abel Sanchez, Triple G's former coach, and he had said that you're lucky to have one life in a time fighter like a Triple G or Canelo, because you're making $200,000-$300,000 every time they fight. That doesn't come around, but maybe once or twice in your life. You're lucky to have that. So I mean, my fighters, I make a little bit of money off of them at this point in my life.
Yeah.
But they more so feed what I enjoy doing. You know what I mean? It's a fitness clientele where I make my money off of. The people that want to learn the art of boxing but don't want to climb into the ring and stuff like that. That's where I'm making any kind of money. The fighters.
That's the passion project.
That's my passion, man.
That's
yeah,
it.
and I'm blessed in that sense to have a big following of fighters down here that I've been lucky enough to link up with and work
It's
with.
amazing. It's amazing. Like, and it's no accident, right? Because you can see your work ethic, you can see how hard and how much you've put into it. And, if you're willing to dedicate yourself for nothing, people are always going to gravitate to that, which is, it's a beautiful thing. We had a little chat on DM about your view of training women, what I like to call the Yas Queens,
Yeah.
to be able to look after themselves. I've got two little girls. My youngest was basically having a little move about with a top 15 welterweight today. She was having a little something with Larry.
Nice.
4-year-old, you know what I mean? Like, that's it. She's done now. Like, she has this unbelievable fire that it came out a little bit today, and she was just like elated with it. But like my two girls, I always stand firm with, you're better to have it and not need it than the other way around, right? I mean,
100%.
you were saying like it's not about creating another Cyborg, and I'm sure Cyborg is a very lovely lady. But what you want that the positivity that comes from it. Like, Streets has got a bunch of female clients. I've got a bunch of female boxing clients. You've got a bunch of female clients. Like, it breeds so much more power, really.
Yep. I totally agree with that, man. I couldn't agree with it more. You know what I mean? It really, as far as like, it's weird because I did come from a fight first kind of background, if that makes sense. Like, the guy who kind of taught me how to coach was, I don't know if you guys have heard of him, is he was a former world champion kickboxer, Scott McAdam. And he was like a hard-nosed kind of a guy. So it was like, no women.
Oh, really?
Was his mindset. Like, no women in the gym. Yeah, he was big like that. And then from there, I realized that there was, a lot of women want to learn how to fight and defend themselves. And once I kind of went out on my own, I started to realize that I was getting a lot of messaging and a lot of women reaching out to train them. So I was like, hell, I'm going to take it. You know what I mean? And I'll be honest with you, man. I think just because of what I've seen and been involved with in the fight business, I'm not crazy about training girls to fight. But I will. I mean, I have trained a couple of girls to fight. You know what I mean? It's not something. I'm not really accustomed to watching girls, take punishment. I don't think that It's something I
Do you know what?
enjoy.
Do you know what? I'm the same. And I've said to Streets about this. Like I'm pretty similar with it, and I do think it's because I've got two little girls that
Sure.
I can't make that switch because you know, you see that and you see your two there and you're just like, oh, I don't want that.
Yeah,
Like, and
absolutely.
I don't know if it would be different if I had sons, but I'm guessing no, because you just don't want to see something you love that much in that situation, and it just breeds, right? But then,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's hard, and not only that, but like getting them sparring is an extremely hard thing to do. So most of the time they're
yeah,
sparring with guys,
yeah,
and then they're trying to take it light on them, but they're still, you know what I mean? They're cracking them a little bit. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It just doesn't feel right. And I'm not saying, listen, if you're a female and if you're blessed enough to have a group of girls around you that you can train with as training
hmm,
partners, I'm all for it. And I'm not saying I turn away from it. It's more of just, it's
it's
tough,
different. It's different.
Yeah, it's different because I mean I know what a guy, especially a guy that I'm training with, they're gonna go to, and they're not gonna say no, right? So if they come in the corner, I'm like, hey, we're doing 4 rounds of sparring,
Hmm,
and a girl comes back and she's like, hey, I'm done after 3.
yeah,
I'm gonna feel inclined to be like, all right, we're done. But if it's one of my guys, I'm like, you're doing one more.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
You know what I mean? You're doing one more. We're doing 4 rounds. It's different with a girl. You question, are they taking punishment? Can they handle that? It's
yeah.
tough. It really is. I mean, I'm not saying I'll turn away a female wanting to fight. I just because there are some great female
Of
fighters
course
out
there
there.
are.
It's just
Yeah, I'm scared
it's tough.
shitless of telling them no, so they go in the ring if they want
Yeah,
to. They'll beat the
yeah.
fuck
I
out of
mean,
it.
I have a lot of females that I train to fight. I mean, anybody, I say the same thing. Like, I'm training you to fight. When
Yeah,
when people want to come for the fitness aspect of boxing, I'm gonna train you on the art of how to fight, and
Yep.
you're
yeah,
gonna get a great workout in between that. But we're not doing, fitness workouts where it's like, hey, you're gonna hit the bag, you're gonna stop, you're gonna do burpees, you're gonna hit the bag, you're gonna stop, you're gonna do burpees. For me, it's, I'm going to teach you how to fight, but you're going to get a great workout. And I mean, they always come back. So,
I mean that was always that was a little, it was hot for a bit, wasn't it, to have, what is it, like Adriana Lima and the Victoria's Secrets girls down at like Fifth Street Boxing, right? And then a bunch of people see it and they're like, you know, that's what I want. But if you're going through those motions, you may as well teach properly,
Yep.
right? Because
yeah,
like I
absolutely.
said, in case you do need to crack someone and fucking run,
Yep. I
do
mean,
it
if they
right.
want that, if that's kind of, and there's nothing wrong with that fitness boxing, you know what I mean? And I
No,
just
not at
tell
all.
everybody the same thing when they're looking for that, you know what I mean? It's not, you're coming in this gym, and 9 times out of 10, there's going to be some pros in the gym, and it's just a little bit, I have a gym atmosphere, you know what
Yeah,
I mean, rather than more so like the boutique style of a gym. So, but that attracts clientele in itself, you know what I
mm,
mean?
But it's
So,
like it kind of lends itself to you're doing it anyway. You may as well like
yeah,
learn
exactly.
the you know what I mean? It's like there's
Yeah,
something about
absolutely.
boxing that confused me recently where people think they've got 2 hands so they can teach it. And it's like it doesn't work like that, man. Like you
Yeah,
can't
it's
like
tough.
I wouldn't be like, I'll teach you how to dance. I got feet. Like I don't know what the fuck I'm
yeah,
doing.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's like
absolutely.
stick
It's just
to
such a big business, man. Boxing is
yeah.
right now, it's a monstrous business. So I think a lot of people are just like you said, they have 2 hands. They're like, hey, you know what? I did, 6 months at,
Yeah.
the local title boxing gym. I'm going to teach it. And there's a lot more to that, man. I went through so much. I say it all the time. Sorry. I went through so much to learn how to coach. You know what I mean? Aside from fighting, I went through like a 2-year internship where I wasn't really making any money, and just figuring out how to coach, how to use my system, how to implement my system, how to study it.
yeah.
It's a tough game.
Yeah,
You're
it's
going to teach
always a
somebody,
tough one as well because, like from the UK side, like Streets and I have spoken about this a lot. Even like since COVID, it's gone boom. So when they allowed PT back again, there seemed to be just like my feed on the gram were, you know, like look, everyone can do whatever they want. Like I'm not judging you for it, but if you're going to make a video of it and put it out there for people to see, then expect someone to critique it. Um,
oh yeah,
there just seems to have been like, I'm gonna watch a video and then I'm gonna grab a pair of pads that I found
yeah,
somewhere and
Smash the hands.
yeah, smash the
yeah,
hands, and then there's like a little bit of a dance move, maybe there's a kick, maybe
yeah.
there's some sort of elbow where
I've
they do
seen it all.
this and almost get one in the face.
I've
um
seen it all, man.
yeah, it's
I've
just
seen it
a
all.
fascinating thing. Like I think on one of our first episodes we was discussing, I don't understand what it is about boxing that intrinsically, like, 95% of males immediately have this thing in their head, I can do this and it's no big deal. Women, it's usually a much lower percentage, and their hips move better. They're much more willing to learn, and the preconceived notion that I'm going to knock you the fuck out with one touch shot like Bruce Lee isn't there, right? But that kind of breeds onto the pad work stuff as well, and just the training. And it's just like, we're trying to have a little look at putting something together on our side to help, I guess would be the word. I mean, you're never gonna. The long short of it is like we all have to take our wrist and shoulder and elbow injuries as part of learning. You can't cheat it.
Yeah, I mean,
it's more. Sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's more like it's all for if you're trying to learn the ropes and you get together with mates, cool.
Fine.
But like when money's changing hands, or when you're like publicized, or worse so when it's like this is boxing, it's like no, you're hitting like it's a very different thing. If you give it all this and shit, like someone's gonna get hurt. It's dangerous as fuck. Like someone thinks I've been boxing for however long, and then they tell someone I box this long. Okay, I'll match you up with someone who's equivalent. They're gonna get fucked up.
Oh, dude, and not only that, you get even the flip side of that. Everybody thinks that they're a fucking fighter. You know what I'm saying? And so even, and I've worked with some of the top guys in the world. I've been lucky enough to be working with them or be around them. And I still hear guys, like I'll still get somebody, fucking hating on me on something I post up on Instagram. And it's like, yeah, but if he does this, he'll do that. And it's like, do me a favor. And you know what?
Right.
That shit used to make me so fucking mad. Now it's like I kind of laugh about it. I'll either leave it up there or I'll delete it. Or, dude, back in the days, I used to fucking comment to them, and I'd give them the address to my gym, and I'd say, these are the hours I'm here. If you want to come by, I'll show you. You know what I mean? So that's the best. Dude, I used to work at this gym. They used to pay me big money on Tuesdays. I'd go over there and hold mitts for 3 hours. Sure. And you get all these guys. And I live in Miami. You know what I mean? Yep. So you get everybody out here who thinks they're tough, and these guys used to come in, and I swear to God, they'd come in, they'd hit the mitts, and there was times, and not to be malicious or mean, I wanted to laugh in their fucking face because one, they thought that they were great at what they were doing, but more so because I'm like, man, you think you're a tough guy, but like you can't fight to save your life. What happens if you have to defend your girlfriend's honor or something like that out here? Like, you're going to get beat the fuck up. You know what I mean? So, but these are the same guys that are
it's going to be a world
you,
star.
Yeah, they're the same guys that are hopping on the internet and trolling you. It's everybody thinks that they're fighters and that they're tough. You know what I mean?
Until it comes time to fight.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I think they say, what is it, like 1% of human beings are actually physical fighters that are willing to do it. You know what I mean? Like to really get in there and do it. So it's it cracks me up, man. It's the social media era, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I used to teach at a college over here. And at the start of every year, I'd always just say, has anyone boxed before? Hands up. Has anyone fought before? Hands up. And then the people that have their hands up, you can tell, right? And then so I'd go up, what's your record? And some of the records you'd hear, and I was just like, wait. And then I'd be like, have you just put gloves on with your mate at the park? Put your fucking hand down, man. Like, you're going to get yourself hurt out here. Like, what are you doing? Like, of all sports, like, you can bullshit in tennis and you'll just get embarrassed, but you're going to get fucked up. Like, people are throwing punches at you, dude. Like, what do you think?
And you see quickly how little they do know how fast it is. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I'm 4,200 and 0. But I did have one draw once, right? We just moved on.
Everybody out here is a Golden Gloves champion out here. Like, you ask them like, oh yeah, you got any fights? Oh, I'm a Golden Gloves champion. And I'm like, thinking to myself, I'm like, well, are you a regional? Like, are you a national Golden Gloves? Like, what Golden Glove did you, what Golden Gloves did you win? You know what I mean? Did you win it open, closed? It's fucking, it's a blank look, man. That's, that's the stage, it cracks me up, man. It's
that normally means they've got a pair of mittens that are yellow.
Yeah. It comes with the territory.
Yeah, it's like I'm world champion of my chair, and I just want people to know that, right?
Same
but
with
those
me
people hate. Yeah, the people hating you said they're always like locked profile, no, like not a picture of them boxing in sight. It's like shut the fuck up, man. Like
man. I mean, I'm lucky enough now. Like, that was big time. Now that I think if people go through my page, they're like, all right, he trained so and so, or he trained so and so, or you can kind of tell, like, all right, I'll get the critique, like, oh, but if he slips this way, he'll get hit with the right hand. I'll get those comments all the time, and I'm like, man, and I usually, now at this point, I look at it like, if you have a social media, the way I look at it is it's three things. You're either inspiring, you're motivating, or you're educating somebody.
Yeah.
So I'll take the time to write somebody back and be like, well, if I do this, and you say that I can get countered, but the truth of the matter is I'll be out of position for a counter, or you'll be off bounce, whatever. I'll write them back. I'll educate them. And 9 times out of 10, I'll get a little bit, I'll get good feedback from that rather than the other one, man. Or, dude, what I get a lot of is, like, when my guys are fighting somebody, I'll get, like, hate mail. You know what I'm saying? Like, I will get full-blown fucking – when Miguel was fighting Matt Brown, that last fight, I got – because he's a fan favorite. I get it. I've been watching that guy since I was, young. You know what I mean? So, boy, they'll DM you, like, right out the gate about Miguel, or they'll DM Miguel the same things. I mean, the craziness that people are. The way they are. It's like, dude, relax. It's a fucking fight,
And how do you have time to hate all this shit? You know what I mean? It's like, chill the fuck out.
I've had it all day, dude. Like, they'll talk about Miguel's girlfriend, his mother, they'll get racist. Even with me, you know what I mean? You're going to get your boy knocked out. That's the business that I think, because I'm only 34 years old, and now that I'm starting to kind of, I feel like, hit my peak with the fight business, like really stepping into it on a more mainstream. Yeah. I feel like, with levels comes that, right? Like, you're gonna get people that, don't like you and shit like that. The more you're up there, Yeah,
but it's not that they don't like you. It's just that they just want attention.
And they're fucking jealous too. That's a massive part of it.
Yeah, that's true too. I mean, it is what it is to me. Like, the more I look at Frank boxing shit, you ever read through his comments, it's the same thing. It's like these assholes, just fucking the things that they say, like when it comes to fighting, it's like, man, are you kidding me, bro? Just like you said, if it was tennis, you get embarrassed. In fighting, man, you can pull. I tell people all the time, you are more than welcome to pull up to the gym. We can find out just about how much you know about boxing,
For a fact they look like Rex from Napoleon Dynamite, where they're just Rex Kwando'd out, ready to go. They got the stars and stripes shoot, like they're just ready.
I love my boxing. I came from a martial arts background. When I started boxing, the thing I loved the most is you'd have everyone coming in acting well hard, and the ring was right there, and the coach just had the best blank. I don't give a fuck what you've got to say. Look, he'd listen to their shit and say, get in the ring. A couple of rounds, they either come back with some humility, or they don't come back, and the gym's better for it. You know what I mean? It's not the sport for this. No. It's like it's an action sport, not a fucking.
Especially in mixed martial arts, you know what I mean? I mean, boxing is pretty rough. You get your ass knocked out in the gym out here, but mixed martial arts is, at least down here, it's more of you'll get humbled real fast in certain gyms,
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean,
Florida's I wonder with that Charlie Zelenoff dude, that actually rolls up on fucking, it's insane, bro.
Absolutely. Dude, listen, Hector's over at a gym now. He moved over to this gym. They just opened. They've been open for almost a year now. It's called the Goat Shed. I don't know if you guys have seen it on social media.
No, I ain't seen it.
I know now.
Yeah, and that's where he's doing a lot of his training. It's a nice gym out there in Miami, and they're like that, dude. They will, because they're big on controversy. This gym, they have no problem with the controversy. So if you talk that shit, they'll invite you over. And Hector, dude, there's a video. If you go on this page, you can scroll through it. There's videos of Hector knocking guys out that are like from the street that come in there wanting to fight. It's fucking nuts. Like, it's crazy. Like, I wouldn't have that in my gym because I'm just, I don't want any kind of issues with law and stuff like that.
Just sign a waiver. It'd be okay.
That's what they do, dude. They got these, like, I think it's happened twice where these civilians come in there and they beat the shit out of them. And I'm, I can't say I respect it, but I don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's,
Imagine being that wild to go into a pro MMA gym with
chatting that shit.
Yeah, like imagine the set of nuts on you to walk in, like even into like an amateur. If you've never done anything before, or you've had like a little bit of a roll around in a park, fine. And then you go into a professional gym,
but
and
is it
then
nuts
you've got
or just an empty head?
The more what's crazy is the more I've learned about fighting, the more fucking dangerous I realize it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the thought process of how much I don't know. Because I've made a monstrous shift towards MMA.
Yeah.
just teaching like boxing to MMA guys. And I start to realize, I'm like, man, some of these guys can hold me down and do whatever the fuck they want to me in the street. So, a lot of these guys out here, they, not only
Not me,
that,
bro.
but
Not me. You don't know my fire. You don't know how strong I am. You know what I mean? I've literally
Undefeated Golden Gloves
I've watched
champion.
some of the UFC. I know
Dude,
exactly what to do.
Think about the guys that are talking shit. You don't know fighting at all. You don't watch fighting. You don't know it. So you start ridiculing a guy like Hector Lombard, not knowing that this guy is like a fucking former world champion. He's a judo Olympian. Oh, I could fuck him up. He looks like he's small. Da 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 da. Then you go in there with this guy, and Hector. Let me tell you something, dude. Just like you said, like that fear. Hector won't blink an eye. Like he has that reputation for knocking guys out. I've seen it several times. You know what I mean? So, and you could tell him like, hey man, this guy's a civilian. There's something we always say, like, don't touch Hector's face because he snaps. You know what I mean? If you're
Hector's one of them guys, right? When you go to the zoo, and the tiger just walks past the glass, and you're like, oh, that's beautiful, but you feel weird that it's that close to you. That's what I assume it's like having Hector walk past you. You just like,
He's that kind of, and it's crazy. Like I said, man, I mean, I've known him for a long time, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you I haven't seen those because I have seen them, but like, you always get the, be careful you're training Hector because everybody always asks me the questions, how many times has he missed the mitts and hit you? Never once. Even with bare knuckles, never missed me once. He's pretty controlled, but he has that switch. I think what it is, when he starts preparing for a fight, he goes into a whole nother human being, and he really does. Like, I noticed that switch. Like I said, I was training for about 3 months before that fight got signed, and then I didn't see him for about a week, and I drove out to train him after the contract was signed. He was supposed to be fighting Joe Riggs, and it was on from there, man. It was a whole nother human being. It wasn't a human being, to be honest with you. He's definitely fearful in that sense. And I've been in there with some crazy guys and some guys that are loose. And he's loyal as hell, though. I'll tell you like that. A super loyal guy.
They're the ones you want. I mean, like the thing is as well with Hector, is that a lot of people don't connect the dots. But judo in the street is probably one of the more dangerous ones out there, right? If someone's not just a high level judoka, if they're an Olympic level judoka, you're not going to get nicely put to sleep. You're going to get your shoulder dislocated and your collarbone snapped, and then he's just going to walk away like nothing happened.
Strong as fuck. If they get their hands on you, get it.
Yeah,
you're not even going to realize.
He's dumb strong. He's crazy strong. And the strength, like his grip and everything else. Like, I remember like wrapping his hands and things like that, and I would think to myself, I'm like, somebody is going to sign on a contract to let this guy punch him dead in the face. This guy, like, it was insane to me. I really felt that way, man. It was nuts. Like, you would have to pay me well over $100,000 to square up with Hector. You know what I mean? And let him swing at me like that. I'll be honest. He just has that blunt force trauma.
I'd let one of them boys with the big slaps slap me for about 100 grand.
Yeah.
That's what I'd be up for. For 100, I'm gonna need more than 100 bills to get anywhere with Hector, to be honest.
Yeah, he's definitely like it's a pure muscle thing with him, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? His arms, he doesn't have long range. It's not his arms aren't range. It's just a pure walk around like muscle.
Yeah.
It's nuts, and he'll never tell you how old he really is.
I mean, well, he can't, can he?
He will never tell you how old he is, dude.
That's the Cuban special, isn't it? It's like,
yeah, he'll never tell you how old he is. That's the best, man. He's a mysterious guy in that sense, but it cracks that and his weight. He'll never tell you what he weighs. He'll never tell you his age. But a great guy, man. He's a great guy. I mean, what can I say?
Talk to us about Miguel. Has he got a new fight? Has he got a new opponent?
Yeah, man. That was the confusion of the timing. So, again, like I said, I don't fly.
Yeah.
Miguel, I've trained Miguel since he was I just you know what, man? It's a comfort thing with me, man. I get anxiety sitting on that plane and shit.
So what? We won't be announcing the Kev seminar in London then.
Yeah.
Unless we provide the boat.
Yeah, there you go. I would for Miguel, I'll fly because I've trained him from the very start since he was a lot younger. He was my first real full-time fighter, and I always say he was like he was the first seed, you know what I mean? Everything that I have successful wise in the fight business is because of what I've done with him. And I always kind of knew that. So, and I was with him before he started, before he had a name, before he had fought, you know what I mean? Since he was an amateur. So, I'll fly for him. I'll make
Yeah.
an exception for him. You know, if it's a must need, then I will. But there's in MMA, you've got 100 coaches, man. You don't need me.
Yeah.
So he was supposed to fight Mickey Gall
Yeah.
this
That's right,
Saturday,
yeah.
the 19th. Gall, I'll say it, got injured. I don't know how. On Friday night, the week before a fight, you get injured, but
Yeah.
he got injured. So from there, the fight wasn't off, or the fight was off, but they were still flying him out trying to get an opponent.
Mhm.
He flew in on Tuesday. They had an opponent for him, a possible replacement opponent on Monday. So we thought we were fighting this other guy, I forget his name, and that fight didn't happen for some reason. He said yes, then he said no. And then we got last night, the last time I spoke to him, because he's 3 hours behind me. So I spoke to him last night. He called me and he said that the fight with the guy that they replaced him with earlier in the day was off. The guy turned down the fight or something happened where he said no.
Okay.
So we weren't fighting at all. And then that was as of last night, my time, 9 o'clock. So his time, like 6 o'clock. And he's like, I'll call you if things change. And then he called me this morning. And he had said that the fight is back on. He's fighting. I forget the kid's name. Pretty good kid, short, shorter dude, more explosive, but he is fighting Saturday night. His last
amazing.
name's Willis, I believe, or Wills or something like that. Explosive guy. There's not a lot of tape on him, so
Yeah.
and I don't want to give out any kind of little game plan we talked
absolutely
about.
not.
That
No,
matters in
no.
that sense.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's listening from now to then, but
This won't
know.
even be released until Wednesday morning.
Is
So you're all right.
Jeremiah Wells?
Never mind, man. Never mind. What is it?
Jeremiah Wells, is that the guy?
Jeremiah Wells. So he's short, he's explosive, he's about 5'9". So I mean, some of the things I told him, when I spoke to him is, just to work on. He's explosive, so we don't want to stand in front of him too long. If we get off, you don't want to be flat-footed and content, standing there, because that's where it looks like from the two videos that I saw of him, he kind of lures you in and explodes on you, almost like the way like Tyrone Woodley does. He'll throw that big right hand or that big left hook. So we work on that, maybe stepping back a little bit, using his jab and his range, because the guy's 5'9", Miguel's 6'2". So, Miguel's feeling confident. He's ready to go. He had a really good camp, man, leading up to this. We were really prepared for Mickey Gall. So, I'm super confident in Miguel. Miguel's a really good fighter with a great IQ. So he'll figure you out fairly fast. And he spars with a lot of my boxers, you know what I mean? So his boxing, I think in his 9 fights, he's knocked out 7 of his opponents with his hands. So he's got great boxing, man. And he goes out there and, he displays that. So I'm not too concerned with this one. It just sucks. I feel bad for the kid, man. He thought he was fighting. To be honest, before it was Mickey Gall, was another guy. And then that guy got a fight. He signed. Miguel still had coronavirus, so we couldn't fight. Then we got Mickey Gall. We prepared for him for 6 weeks. That got pulled. We're supposed to fight this other guy. So we're on our 3rd replacement fight.
Do they do anything when? So obviously Miguel would have invested considerable time and money in the camp and everything like that. Say they can't find a replacement for him. Do they give him anything back, or is it just you're out of pocket?
It all depends. What I've noticed with the UFC, I've coached a couple guys now in the UFC. Sometimes they'll take care of you. Yeah. Sometimes they'll tell you to weigh in and they'll pay you out. They'll pay you your weight and your show money. Sometimes they don't. I think with Miguel, man, to be real with you, I don't know if you guys know his story, but he's been a team player since he's gotten into the UFC, before he even got in. He was signed to fight in the Contenders. The guy who was supposed to fight pulled out a week and a half before. So they switched the opponent. The guy was an Orthodox we were preparing for. We had to prepare in a week and a half against a Southpaw. The guy didn't make weight. He came in 6 pounds over. We fought him anyways. We said yes. And then it's just been that case, man, since we fought. Even with the Brown fight, we were supposed to fight. That fight got pulled. Then they told us 2 weeks and a half. And this was like right when the coronavirus started. He took that fight in 2 weeks. He's always said yes. So I'm sure they would take care of him. Guys like that, they do take care of.
They do seem to like a company, man, don't they? They like there's always been this list of guys that that are in favor with Dana and the crew them.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And Miguel just wanted to fight, to be honest with you. His mentality was like, at this point, he's like, dude, before he left, he had said he just wanted to fight. And then yesterday, when they told him he had pulled out, he said, I will fight anybody at 170 to 185. Just give me a fight.
Soldier.
So, yeah, and that was, I'll be honest with you, I'm not crazy about that, but that's his mindset. I'm a preparation first kind of guy, so I like to prepare for anybody we fight. I mean, I'm sure you guys know about, following me and stuff like that. I break down a lot of things. I'm a detailed kind of guy. So,
Yep.
But, I feel good. I feel confident in this fight. It's a little bit of a style change, but he does some things that I felt like, as far as the moving forward, he explodes forward. I think Mickey Gall did a lot of that, but not as explosive.
Yeah.
He was very, I was saying it all, the whole camp. Mickey Gall is a guy who's learning on the job still.
Yeah.
So his striking is very, if you don't give any, feints or looks first and then you attack, you could still tell you're very, you're green if you're just kind of blitzing in. So I feel good about that fight, man. We're ready. Saturday night, he'll be fighting. I've been training. I know you guys have seen, I've been with Marlon Morales for this camp.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's fighting October 10th, is it? 5th or the 10th? I forgot, man. So many dates now.
See, he looks like an absolute world beater and bodied, and he is shredded.
Super athletic guy, man.
Yeah.
Great human being, man. Just aside from being a great fighter, just a great dude. He very humble. Comes in the gym as a guy who had won a world title. He's ranked number 1, been top 5 for 4 or 5 years now, and still has that mentality. He wants to learn every day.
Yeah, but that's all the great ones, though, right?
Oh, 100%, man. And a lot of guys forget that, man. You could break down video of Marlon all day, and a lot of guys aren't, don't have that mindset. They don't want to take the time. If he spars, we break down the sparring on video.
Yeah.
Show him what he did right, wrong, notes. He's a very smart, hard-working guy, man, and a very humble guy. I mean, he comes in and he's been sparring for this camp. He's fighting. Marlon's a little bit shorter, obviously, and he's fighting a guy who's 5'10", 5'11", Corey Sandhagen. He's a tall guy, so I've been having him spar with Eric Tudor.
Okay.
And Eric's a straight monster. He's 5'11". The kid's got 190 amateur fights. He's a 3-time national champion.
Sure.
He was actually in London for the semifinals for the 2020 Olympics.
Was he
Well,
really?
this all kicked off. Yeah, he was going to be fighting. He was about to fight in the Olympics when all this happened. So, and Marlon's been sparring with him, and it's been great sparring. And not only that, Marlon's the kind of guy, he takes care of kid. You know what I mean? The kid, like, hey man, he hooks him up with stuff. He doesn't. Hey, I just want you to be here for me. You know what I mean? He'll take care of you. He's a good dude, man. I mean, you always wonder who's coming in.
That's what you want in not only your gym, but that's what you want with the people around you, because you want that culture to breed. Because when the one being taken care of is now the one being able to take care of people, that's what you want.
And it's good for Eric's a 18-year-old kid. He just turned 18. He just graduated high school last year. He's obviously traveled the whole world fighting and boxing and stuff like that. But it also goes to show him, like, what he wants to aspire to. You know what I mean? It's one of those things you learn from that. Like, he's in there. Eric's a young kid. He's quiet, super quiet. He's a young kid, but he's in there with guys like Miguel and some of these guys.
Yep.
I train Roberto Duran Jr. He's in there with him. He's in there with all these guys, man. So it's good for him. And it shows him when you're a real leader like that, like a Miguel or a Marlon, you're a humble, nice guy, it shows the younger guys how to act. You know what I mean? And I think that's a big part of the culture in boxing that it needs a little bit more of again.
Speaking of young kids, sorry, you had that Xander come through as well, right?
I was training Xander. I trained Xander when he was an amateur. When he was like 14, bro. It's crazy that you say that because I haven't thought about him for a while. Yeah, dude. Him and Eric used to be like, sparring partners and training partners.
Right.
I trained him at Sweatbox where he's at now. For about a year or so when he was an amateur. Kid's fucking good, man.
Yeah, it just reminded me when you said about the Olympics, because he was the same sort of thing, right? He they had that 19-year cutoff and he didn't want to wait.
He didn't want to wait, man, and he hopped right into pro right away. I think he was 16 when he signed.
Yeah.
And he's a terrific fighter, terrific young fighter, really good. He's growing. I say it all the time because, again, he's another kid. I know his family. You know what I mean? He used to come to the gym. I know his mother. I know his dad. They're tall ass people. Hey, listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, Xander might bounce all the way up to heavyweight, dude, because he's only 17 or 18 now. I think he just turned 18, and he could fight at 54 if he wanted to easily. He's a big ass kid, dude. He's big and he's only gonna get bigger.
Yeah.
So yeah, I trained him for a while as well, for a little while. And then when I went on my own, he stayed at his gym, and I was cool with that. He had been there for a little while. I didn't try to recruit him or anything like that.
Yeah.
Initially, I say it all the time, so you guys know, I never wanted to be a head coach.
Yep.
I wanted to be a coach. You come, I teach you stuff, and you kind of go on.
Yeah, right.
I fell into the role. You know what I mean? Like, just a guy that's like a mechanic. Like, hey, man, you come in, you get a session or two, and you go. You know what I mean? That's what I love about these MMA guys. But Miguel fucked that all up for me, man.
And you had Shannon the Cannon come through as well. I saw that.
Man, Shannon's another guy. I've known that guy since I was young, since I was a kid. He always has been around. He's always been around the gym.
Shannon.
That guy's like the people's champ. You know what I mean?
Really is.
Let's go, champ.
Yeah, another one who will fucking kill somebody in a second, man.
Yeah.
I'll tell you straight up, man. I can tell you some war stories with that guy. But yeah, he's been in and out of the gym. He came into my gym. Hey, man, he's been in almost every one of my gyms, dude.
Wicked.
He's a good guy, man. He's a good guy.
He had an argument with your boy Amir, right?
Yeah. Amir Abdallah. We had him as a guest. So he's Floyd C's manager, Badu Jack's manager, and that was before the KSI Logan Paul.
Yeah.
They know each other.
Yeah. I mean, like you meet that guy, and it's just like it's just you're not getting into an argument with him. He's just
dude, because he'll fight you.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys. He will 100% fight you. You know what I mean? He's just
amazing.
That kind of, like it's weird. You think you're like having like a fun batter back and forth with a little banter back and forth. You're arguing, and then it gets like real fast.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, he's trying to fight a couple of guys, man. Like in the gym. I've seen it firsthand. Nice guy, but he'll snap fast.
Shannon for sure is on the big board of guests to get. Like he's in that top 3, right?
Because man, I gotta get. I'll reach out to him. I'll see what's up. I talk to him every now and again.
Oh, mate.
Yeah, I'll reach out to him. He was in the gym before all this coronavirus happened. He would go into the gym. I would just miss him, man. He would be in there in the mornings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I'll reach out to him. I'll see if he hops on, man.
Speaking of the kicking off, that's why that was terrifying when Jim and Luis kind of went at it.
Man.
I was like, oh fuck, is this going down like right now? Like, because those are two guys that ain't gonna play, right?
I'm not big into like that. I don't like when I'm cornering and coaching for like a fight with bad blood. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I've been into those a couple of times. To me, man, I'm a competitor and I'm all about the competing at the high level. That's what I want. And I'm excited about this fight. I don't know what the fuck is going on with those two, man. I don't know why it started. I don't know what the hell happened, but now it's like it's on, and they used to be friends. They trained together for a long time, for a long time, for about 2 years. They were training partners. I got sick. I was the kind of the brunt end. Did you hear the story?
No.
All right. So Jim's 4-0 in bare knuckle.
Yep.
He's been promised the title shot. And then it was, we're doing a tournament format, so we're not doing a title shot. You have to win the tournament. So Jim, all right, cool, we'll do it. Him and Palomino were always cool, man. They were always, cordial with each other and friendly. They trained together. They knew each other pretty well. And I guess what happened was Palomino got into the tournament. They were going to eventually fight. And then that got, like, taken off the table, and it was, hey, Jim versus Palomino for the title.
Yeah.
We got the text from Dave, the promoter, the week before I got sick, and he said, Luis Palomino, this date, whatever it was. It was like 3.5 weeks. We told him, yeah, we have the text message. We told him, let's do it. 4 days later, I got coronavirus. Like, I knew I had it. I had told Jim, I'm like, dude, I think I got it. So that fight got, he told me, I asked him, I'm like, look, man, we could train through Zoom, Skype, whatever, but I'm sick. I can't train you. And he's like, I'll let you know. We thought about it for the day. It was a lot of money, man. I commend and I salute Jim. They offered him a lot of money to take that fight. And his mentality was like, dude, I don't have 3 different boxing coaches. I'm his only coach.
Yeah.
It's myself. His wife corners with me. And all she does is give me the water bottle and stuff like that. And she's there for the moral support. And that's really it. You know what I mean? So it's not like, hey, I I can't go into this fight without my coach. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
there's no training done. So he told them no. He's, you know, and they promised the fight. He told them that I had coronavirus. From there, they gave Palomino the fight. Jim got pissed because he's like, dude, I'm 4-0. I've taken, you know, short notice fights. I've done everything. I've been the company man. You're going to give a guy who has one fight the title, you know, and that's how it happened, man. And then from there, he had vocalized that, and it was on. It was on from there, man. They started going back and forth, you know, on Instagram, and, you know, now they fucking hate each other. So that's going to be a fight that it's not going past the first round. I'm telling you that much right now. And Jim's the first person to tell you, dude, I'm either knocking you out or you're knocking me out. It's the only way I fight.
You need a protege. You need a number 2 who you can dispatch, who's willing to fly.
Yeah, you're absolutely right with that, man. Stuff. I mean, that's one of those things. It's like I've tried that, and you know what happens when you get so personal in a business, man. A lot of people don't want to train with, you know, the second guy or anything like that, man. You know, I'm sure you guys know with your clients, like, you know, when I take some time off, I'm like, hey, man, you know, go to so and so, and they're like, nah, I'll wait for you to come back, or I'm just not gonna box until you come back. So.
I mean, a lot of mine are actually thrilled that I'm taking time away because I normally talk at them about my theories on multiple conspiracies and that I feel that I was probably molested as a child. So when they're on the treadmill trying to get loose and I'm talking at them that maybe something happened at a Cub Scout hut when I was 5 or 8, they're just like, why do I pay for this? Like,
dude, your Corona versus your income
there we are.
stories are the best, man.
Every
those
day.
are the fucking best, man. No, you got to keep those up, man.
You got to keep it going. Even when it's over in sometime in 2025, you know.
How's it going out there? Is it like hardcore out there or what?
So in the area of London that I personally live, for example, like the UK will impose a quarantine and stop travel to a nation, for example, Croatia, when cases hit 20 per 100,000. The area in London that I live is 38 cases per 100,000. So we're talking nearly double the quarantine imposure. And it's just like, people are chilling. It's been really nice weather. It's, you know, I have to wear a mask when I take the kids to school and pick them up with my wife. That's about the only real thing. And supermarkets, you have to wear a mask.
There's proper random rules though, like 6
really
people
strange.
can get together, and like you need a mask here but not here, and it's just like you guys are just making this shit up,
bro.
Man.
It's they are. They're 100. And fucking out here in America, I say it all the time. I'm like, man, I'm getting the fuck out of here. I'm going to Switzerland or Canada. It's fucking nuts. It's nuts. Like you're wearing a mask to walk into a restaurant and walk 15 feet to the table, and then you take your mask off again. Yeah. Like I can't get the shit just sitting here or touching the table or no. Who's coming up with these rules? I'm sorry, I say that all the time. It's fucking nuts.
No one knows what's going on. They're like all. I mean, from the first real problems in the UK, they've been talking about the second wave before the first wave happened, which is it's largely alarming when that's going on, right? And then
they've done that here too.
Everywhere.
Man.
Everywhere has been talking about this second wave before the first wave has even really kicked off.
Yeah,
now,
they've done that here.
That's the reason that me and Street started this podcast, because we've decided that it's not too much for us to ask for £5,000 to £10,000 to £15,000 a month for us to sit talking shit in our living room. Listen,
way to do it, man.
Reality is a suggestion. We've got a T-shirt that will be winging its way out to Florida when we finally get our act together to get them printed. Right?
Let me know, man.
We're just trying to game the simulation a little bit.
Is there any idea when you guys are going to be able to like get back to work and stuff like that?
See, we've been
I've been working.
So you know, London is very similar to New York, right? So it's got a couple of massive financial districts, which is where Streets and I primarily operate. So like most of my clients are bankers and brokers and traders. Streets are a little bit more diverse because he's more famous than me. That's what it boils down to. You know what I mean? But with everyone working from home, the city of London is just like, it's at 10%. So Monday was my first day back in a gym since March 23rd. And like, I've been doing stuff at home. People are coming to me here. I'm doing video chats like a web girl, whatever, right?
Hey man, that's what you do.
Whenever he can, you know?
Yeah, do some burpees and just flick a nip out.
We've been supposedly at like, I don't know, 50% for the last 6 months that this thing started. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, they don't know what the hell. Just like you said, they don't know what's going on. Oh, you can 50% open up. Oh, the second wave is coming.
Yeah.
There was no second wave. Then it's we're still waiting on a second wave.
Yeah.
At this point, my mentality is, and I say it all the time. Like, I had it back in June. I
Mm-hmm.
quarantined for 30 days. I guess my antibodies are running out. So it's like,
Yeah.
I keep telling people I'm going to get it again. I'll wind up getting it again, and I'll quarantine again, and then I'll,
Yeah.
I don't even at this point. I'm not gonna put my life on pause and let my, my financial situation come crashing down.
That tends
That's
to
the
be
thing. It's like the
yeah.
world is going to burn like
Yeah.
at this rate. It's like, okay, you might
Yeah.
not get a cough, and I feel for the people that got it bad and things like that. But the people at risk, yeah, everybody else, fucking hell, everyone's going to be homeless.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
dude,
either
that's what I'm trying to say. It's
this
crazy.
ends up in the multiple civil wars, then a cold war between the West and China, or
Yeah.
it completely eradicates all currency,
Yeah,
and
that's
everything
exactly
becomes
it.
very utopian.
Bro,
But let's be honest, who of the three of us, if they say, "Oh, you're not allowed to go to work anymore and feed your families," and you're like, "All right, yeah, cool. I'm definitely listening to you as I'm on my way to work."
bro, when this first took off, dude, we closed down the gym for like, I'd say a month, because we were concerned about what it was. Nobody
Yeah.
knew anything
Yeah,
at that
exactly.
point. And then we kind of realized, like, it is what it is. We opened the gym back up when they told us not to. We parked the boat right in front of our door, so you can't tell if we're open or closed. I'm in an industrial area anyways, and we locked the door and we trained. You know what I
There
mean?
you
And it
go.
was what it was. I'm not going to,
Yeah.
it's like, I have bills to pay. You know what I mean? Like, I can't just shut down my world like that. And I
Well,
think that they
if you
weren't prepared
are,
for that.
you've got to be paid to do it, right? And it has to be an equivalent income to what your average should be. It's, but even then, there's just so much damage that
Yeah.
comes from this.
Yeah,
Especially if you think it's like working towards something, but when it's just like, listen, you're making this shit up and you're playing with people's lives. I'll
That's
wait till you
exactly
got,
it,
you know
dude.
what I mean?
Yeah, bro. That's 100% it. It's like, yo, figure it out already. You know,
Yeah.
dude. Look, I'll tell you like this. I got it. My girlfriend got it. She has extreme asthma. My dad actually got it. He's 71 years old. The guy has a stent in his heart because he's had a mild heart attack, and he was
Mhm.
fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, hey, man, you got to shit or get off the pot.
Yeah.
Luckily, dude, right out the gate, Miguel fought that Brown fight.
Mm-hmm.
That was in April, I believe it was. I'm trying to remember. We were the second fight to go down, the second event to go down during all this. And I had that, I got a nice little bonus from him, and
Boom.
that kind of held me over a little bit, thank God. You know what I mean? But it's crazy, man. They don't know what the hell's going on.
No. I mean, I know, like Streets will vouch for this. I have multiple magazines on virology and epidemiology. Like, I'm pretty big in the game when it comes to just making it up as I speak. But they're finding now that, like, your T cells have a memory to produce antibodies when required. So your antibodies will go down, your T cells fire it back up again. Like, it's some witchcraft like that. But then, like, in 2 weeks' time, they'll just say something else, right?
Yeah,
But
I feel like we got a bit lucky. Like most now, what I'm doing is just the one-on-ones, and that kind of you get to slide.
Yeah.
That they keep changing their mind about with the group stuff. It'll be this, it'll be that, and I'm like, all right, let me just bow out of this shit for a bit and just like, this is cool. All right, nice. This is what I love anyway. So,
dude, I've made a lot of money. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'll be honest, because I've just told people I'm just doing one-on-ones.
Yeah.
And people are cool with it. They're tired of sitting at home. Bars aren't open out here. There's not a lot to do. They're gonna train. It's sweet.
They're no bars.
Yeah.
That's what happens here. I think the pubs have to go down, and I think hospitality has to shut here.
Yeah. They shut all of them down. They actually just this Monday they announced 50% capacity in the bars. So
Okay.
we'll see how that goes, man. Like I said, they're kind of just throwing it at the wall and seeing what sticks.
I do kind of like not being rammed everywhere you go, though. It's like being around less people I don't know. I'm like, yeah, you can keep that rule. That's all right.
That's pretty nice too, man. It has its certain things that are good. Little perks here and there. I don't. Like I said, I got it. It wasn't. It wasn't the end of the world, man. It was weird.
Yeah.
I expected it to be a little bit more than it was. I felt like I had a cold. So it's.
I think I had it in February. right? I lost sense of smell. I had something that resembled a flu. It was a bit
You
shit
might have.
breathing yeah. And like I've said to Ian before, like I had maybe 15 clients that were back and forth from Northern Italy, people back and forth from Asia, back and forth from New York, whatever. Chances are I did have it. It wasn't
Yeah.
that bad. I just sat until 4 a.m. watching weird videos on how to butcher tunas
Uh-huh.
on YouTube.
All right, that works out. Yeah,
That's
look,
what I'm
they're figuring
saying,
out all kinds
right?
of things.
And I learned
Dude,
a
this
new
shit has
skill.
made a lot of people crafty, man. You know, like you guys follow Jeremiah, right?
Yeah.
Look at
Yeah,
him,
yeah.
man. Like me and him talk every now and again, and he had told, dude. You know what's funny is I remember when this shit first kicked off, and I had messaged him. I texted him like a week into this, and I'm like, "Hey, how's it going?" Because New York was going
Yeah,
crazy. And he's like, it'll be all right, man. And a week from now, we'll be back to work, a week or two.
sure.
And now
I
look
was
where
doing
we're
that
at.
too.
And that was like back in fucking March.
Yeah.
Man, his
But yeah,
computer setup ain't no joke.
oh my
Fucking
God, bro. That's the
hell.
way to do it, man. I'm telling you.
Is
Also, I
that the
don't even know what
savage
those
with the
parts are.
ponytail at the top of his head?
Yeah.
The one
Yeah,
that's
dude.
got like 450 quid winning pads that he's just sharpied his name along the back of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
What an animal. What an
He's
animal
killing
that
it,
geezer
bro.
is.
He's killing it, man. He was, that digital training is the way to go, man. You know what I mean? And now a lot of guys are hopping on it because they have the time to, to really get on. And I wanted to do something like that, but I
Yeah.
just don't have the time, man. You
No.
know what I mean? I'm really trying to carve out some time to do it. It's just hard, man. I have Miguel's fight, and then I have
Mhm.
Warren's fight and Jim's fight, and then in between that, Roberto Duran Jr.'s fighting. So
Yeah.
it's fucking nuts, man. It's hard to take time off.
Do you know
Yeah,
what?
boy.
Speaking of here versus there, if you don't like flying, I would love nothing more than to take you on the central line, which is the tube, at rush hour, just to see how you react, because I don't think you'd vibe on it very much.
Man, for me, it's like I'm not afraid of a plane going down. Like I'm not like, oh
No.
shit, this thing's gonna crash. Like I said, just sitting there, it's like being in an elevator for 3 hours or 4 or 5. It's like,
Yeah.
I can't sleep. My mind won't like just turn off like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's not enough more movies to watch. Like, what the hell do you do on a plane for fucking? If it's more than 3 hours, dude, you got to find yourself another coach. You know?
All I'm hearing is
Like,
that you need to move into that private jet level.
yeah, that's exactly. I keep saying that, bro. Listen, all these guys need to fly me on first
Yeah.
class, dude. Come on, forget about
Yeah,
it.
you
You
need to
know?
be on that PJ level, and then it's
I'll
going to be a
upgrade.
non-issue.
You know, dude, I
Yeah.
could fly on first class. I could do that. Dude,
Even-
what's his
even
name? Go ahead.
First class ain't all that. You want private. A man of your stature deserves private.
I could do that.
Helicopter.
If we can get on a jet, yeah,
Fuck a
helicopter,
helicopter, they're
something like
dangerous.
that. Yeah, they are fucking dangerous.
Yeah,
Something,
I've got no interest in
something
them.
where there's not a lot. Look, if I do have a fucking freak out and an anxiety or panic attack, it's just me and like 2 other people rather than like fucking,
Yeah.
100 different strangers looking at me like I'm a weirdo, So
With the
we're
cameras
good.
out.
Yeah.
We're good, bro. You know what I mean? That's not bad. We're driving to we had the option to fly to South Carolina. We're driving that shit.
That's not that far though. What's that? 10 hours?
Yeah, it's about a 10-hour. But we have, when you have free tickets, it's different. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah,
you could just
exactly.
you could fly it, but I'm like, I'm fucking driving. I'll see you guys there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My
I don't
cousins
give
live
a
in
shit.
Connecticut. They do that shit all the time. They're like, "Oh, we're going to a
Yeah.
concert. It's 14 hours drive away." You're like, "Oh, okay."
I don't mind it. I don't mind a nice drive, dude. I got everybody. The
That's
whole
not a nice
team's
drive.
driving now.
That's not a
whole
nice
And
team-
drive.
like to be fair,
14
in
hours gets you to
Australia,
Italy.
coming to London, because I'm from Australia, so like the next state is like an 8-hour drive for me. So in London, they're like, oh, it's pretty far. It's like an hour away. It's like, what the fuck, man? That
Yeah.
ain't shit.
Fuck that.
Bro, I live on the bottom of the fucking map in Florida over here. It's 6.5 hours to get out of Florida just to get to Georgia over here. So it's like my girl despises driving.
Yeah.
I mean, she calls me a pussy every day about that because I'm like, oh, let's drive to New York. She's like, it's 16 hours. We could fly and I'll be there in 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I'm with her. I'm all
Dude,
about
I've
that.
done it
Just
100 times.
yeah.
I've done it. Like when Jim fought Leonard Garcia, it was out in Mississippi. We had free flights. He flew, I drove, man. I took the team and we fucking hopped in a van and we drove out there. Screw
You're
it.
just that guy.
Dude, I get it all the time too. It's like, you know what I get? I'll get the messages like, hey, why aren't you in, Miguel's corner, or why aren't you in so-and-so's corner? It's like,
if I don't know you well enough, I'll be like, oh, I had to stay back. But
Yeah.
most of the time I tell people, I just got to make that fucking announcement worldwide to let people know, like, dude, if I'm coaching you, I'll coach you for the fight. Find somebody else to corner you.
Yeah.
Why aren't you there? I'm stuck in traffic. I'll be there in a
Yeah,
minute.
man. You know, locally, I'll you fight down here. We're cool. If it's anywhere else, I can't do it, man. I'm
You just
sorry.
got a 12-hour drive radius. That's it. That's fine.
I'll stretch it to 15, bro, if I have to. You know what I mean? Like, if it's an important fight.
Yeah, I mean,
The good thing is these MMA guys, they have like 10 different coaches.
Yep.
You know, so we're all right there, man.
What about like a wild tour bus?
Like, I can do that too, man.
Like White Snake, like that kind of vibe.
You know what it is, bro? With me, it's like a control thing. If I can't get out of the car, we got a problem.
Yeah, I feel that.
You know, we got a problem. I gotta like lock in. The last time I flew was like 2 years ago. We went to Chicago for a flight, and fucking it's like a 3-hour flight. Every like 30 minutes, I was asking the stewardess, I'm like, hey, how much longer do we have? You know what I mean? Like, hell no, man. You know, it is what it is. I'm that guy.
Some of your, I mean, you became pretty big from social media. Like I've seen you pop up in all manner of like the sub sites, boxing, whatever. Sure. Your pad work sequences. Here's where you look at us all dead and say you make them up on the fly, right? And it's not choreographed and it's not rehearsed whatsoever. That's the first time you're doing it, and it's always, you don't do a combo unless it's 72 punches dead, right?
Yeah, correct.
Basically, yeah.
You know, it depends on what I'm doing. You know what I mean? If I'm doing a combination for like, you know, a fitness client, stuff like that, I'll do a little bit of a crazier combination, obviously, because that is what people want to see, right? Like,
exactly.
You know, people want to see that, and that's what attracted them. Fighting wise, I'm super simple, where it's like, if you've noticed lately, what I've been plugging away at with Instagram is, dude, a fight is a fight.
Technique.
We've all been in there, and it's, you know, let's be real. Like, I've never been into a fight where I've had an exchange more than like 4 to 6 punches tops. Yeah. You know, so it's super simple in that sense, man. Where it's, you know, it's a couple punches and that's it. You know.
For sure.
You know, and that's. I was gonna say, like, are you home now?
Yeah, I just got to the house. Oh, we're good.
Okay. Oh, dog time.
Oh, brother, we'll let you chill in the place, man.
Yeah, thank you so much for doing this, dude.
If you have any questions, it's fine. If you have any other questions, it's all good. I can answer them. I just got in.
Nah, man.
We're all good.
Chill.
You're home.
Day,
we'll let you have your evening, and then we'll just do this again soon.
All right, man. Let me know, man. Whenever you guys want, bro. It was good talking to you guys. Finally, good meeting with all you guys.
Yeah, it was amazing.
You legend, bro. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, dude.
I appreciate it, brother.
Later.
Take care,
guys. Have a good one, man.
Bye.
See you later, bro.